Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is David Beeson. I am your host for today's conversation. My guest today is John Fernando, the CEO of Firethorn. We're going to be talking about his business, his journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share what it's really like to build and operate a business. John, welcome to the show and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little bit of background of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Sure. Thanks, David, for having me. As you said, John Fernando. Um, who am I? I'm a uh, Christian man that is married to a wife that's named Morgan. I have two kids. Carter's 18 and Maddie is 14. And had quite a bumpy journey getting to the place we are now. So it's start we own Firethorn and it took us a little while to get it started and had to go through a few funds to get it started, but we sit in a pretty good place now as it sits.
Awesome. So generally speaking, what is Firethorn and what does the business do?
Firethorns is a mineral acquisition company that just does arbitrage. We go out. We have about 35 guys that work for us. That we identify different operators for our clients that we want to buy minerals under. We mostly buy what's called line of sight. Line of sight means that it's probably going to get drilled in the near future. So we identify those, we pull them off of a list. It's called a pooling list, and then we find their names and numbers. We figure out if we can buy them and make a margin and sell them to investors, family offices, or individually wealthy clients.
Awesome. Yeah. So kind of setting the stage for the viewers and the audience. Generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you the sole founder and owner? Do you have a business partner, outside investors?
So I started it with a partner of mine, but I bought him out in the later years. We started three or four mineral companies, three companies before this, and so I learned about it through that. We owned another company called Grasslands, which was a land service company, which I started as a landman, went into owning a land brokerage company. It grew up to about 162 people that worked for it. Then we went into buying minerals under a couple different names. And so the last one has stayed around the longest. Started with him, ended up buying him out, and now I own it 100%.
Gotcha. Curious, I heard you say that used to be a landman and stuff. Is that show Landman accurate at all?
So it's funny, he comes to Ardmore and he plays in a band. What's his name? Bob? It's
Uh Bobby Thornton,
Billy
something like that.
Bob. Billy
Billy
Bob.
Bob. Yeah.
So my neighbor puts on all the bands here in Ardmore, but so the show is a little bit different than what an actual landman does. A landman really never goes out to the rig. So a landman's job is pretty boring compared to he'd be known as a company man.
Mm,
A landman looks at records. So we do five different things. We do due diligence, curative, right of way, leasing, and title. Most of the time it's title. So if a company like ExxonMobil wants to hire us to go out and to look over an area, we would run the title, lease it, and then we'd send it to their lawyers. They would send back curative measures, and we would cure the title to make sure they can drill a well there.
gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I was just curious. I got sick a couple weeks ago and I finally got around to watching that show because my dad's been telling me to watch it forever. So got around to watching it and whenever you said it, I was like, oh yeah, I have to know if it's accurate or not.
It's a good show.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it.
Good.
I love the creator of the show. I work in the film and TV industry. That's kind of like the dream for me. So I follow a lot of those guys and work on stuff when I can. And the showrunner Taylor Sheridan, he treats everyone like super good on set. I worked on one of his shows out here,
Really?
1923. So yeah, he's awesome.
Wow. That's all. Yeah, we've watched a few of his series like Yellowstone, and he does a good job.
Yeah, I'm just happy because like I worked like bottom of the barrel. I was what's called a PA on set, which is production assistant, but he treats everyone great. He makes sure AC's there, things like that. I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of people don't do that. So he
Oh,
treats
really?
everyone really good. Yeah, he treats everyone really good. Um, so tell us a little bit about your what role you currently play in the business. What's your day to day like?
So I'm more of a morning person, so I schedule all the meetings at the beginning of the day. So I'll look over, most of the time, I'm looking over and pricing out the areas that we're going to go. I take care of the sales of what we buy. If we want to sell something, then I would take care and facilitate all the sales out to the investors. And then I don't really do much anymore. I used to do a whole lot of operations and how to facilitate and run it, but we have a phenomenal team that does, and we do everything from the initial contactors, cold callers, all the way to the closing managers, and then we have a closing manager on top. So we built the system. Um, I am I have a right hand that is her name is Sue Lynn, and she's fantastic. She knows all parts of both the oil companies, and she wears a lot of hats, and so it probably wouldn't be possible to pull off those two companies or any of the other companies without her.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, makes sense. So, um, kind of pivoting a little bit to like more about you and stuff. As you look back on your journey so far, what has been the most memorable roadblock or hurdle that you were forced to overcome?
Well, I would say it was ego, but that ego went into drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol would be the biggest overcomer. So that was a major stumbling block for me. So, and it led to pretty much couch surfing, homelessness, divorce, and just not really being successful as a human being or a business owner.
Yeah, I'm curious with that. How were you able to make the pivot from that to, being able to run this successful company?
Yeah, that's a good question. I went to a couple rehabs, and then on the second rehab I went to, it was kind of like a leadership boot camp. I became a Christian, which I wasn't before, and but it was up in the morning. You had 30 seconds for your feet to hit the floor, and from that point forward, it was you were serving people. I sold bread to generate capital for the ministry. It's free to go into it, but it that they I was I had a great mentor that was tremendous for me. And he was not one of the mentors that gives gives you the teachings lovingly. It was more like a two by four. And that's what I needed. And so they taught me John Maxwell. They handed me a book, and it was called 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. That was the first book I'd probably read since high school. And I read that, believed in it, and then I was able to receive correction. And from the time I went into that facility on 9/9 of '09, and then I started my first company about 2 years later. I got remarried to my ex-wife, and so everything started to come together at that point.
Yeah, it's an awesome story. I also am a Christian. I have a bracelet right here that says it's frog, but it stands for fully rely on God. Um, I turned to kind of similar stuff, was not in a great place, abusing a lot of things I shouldn't have. Didn't get to the point of homelessness, but it wasn't great for me. And then ended up finding Christ about 2 years ago after a big mental breakdown. And yeah, my life's been great since. So any listeners out there, I encourage you guys to, if you haven't, to look into Christianity because it really can change you as a person.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. Um, so what impact did this have on your growth as a business owner? I know like what you went through was probably really, really difficult.
Well, it let me know that I wasn't Now, it let me know what pride was. You know, you kind of walk around when you're inside of that mindset of that you're doing everything right, but everybody can see that everything's wrong. And so, and let me know things about me when one of the greatest things that when people irked me, that the things that I don't like about them is probably the things I don't like about myself. It taught me to delegate, the delegation of, you're sitting there trying to control everything when you first start business. You're trying to, because you think no one's going to do a good job. Then you find out later on as you grow as a business and person that they actually do a better job than you do at it. So we use the 80-20 rule. If they can do it 80% as good as I can, it's delegated. But I found out that people always exceed that we've had have exceeded my expectation of how good that they can do that certain role. And if you're trying to control all the clients or control all the people, it's a stumbling block. So you reach you might reach 15 guys or you might reach 20 guys, but at that point it shuts off because they're all waiting on you to give them answers. So once I learned about that and was able to let go of all the insecurities that I had about myself. And that's when things started to really pick up and grow exponentially.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So I'm curious, what makes your business unique? How do y'all stand out against the competition?
Well, I'll tell you, it's pretty simple why it's unique, and I really appreciate all the people that don't do it this way. But we actually live by our word. We deliver on it every time, and we always hit our deadlines. We're able to price things tremendously faster than everyone else. So most people take 3, 4, 5 days a week to price something. We can do it in about an hour. But along the way, we have I have a rule that all of our clients live by the same mantra. They deliver on their word and they do what they say they're going to do and they call people back. Those three things. And on, if you just live by those three things, you'll find yourself in a unique space.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So pivoting a little bit over to marketing. I have a background a lot in digital marketing. I went to school for marketing and film and TV production, so I've kind of tried to blend the two together over the last year or so.
Okay.
So I'm curious what success I'm always curious what successful businesses are doing. What percentage of your monthly sales is typically invested back into your marketing budget?
It's fascinatingly enough. So all marketing in oil and gas for Grasslands is done through me. It's very hard to do because you're looking at I mean, you're shooting with a sniper rifle. So it's because you're only looking for the landman inside of an operating company, which there might be five. And
Yeah.
so for Firethorn, all marketing as we consider is done by cold calling. But in the insurance, and I'll kind of pivot on into that, which we just raised all the capital for, we do it as a 10% of what a client's value will return to us. And that's the actual equation that we use to do that. So if a client's going to return $50,000, we're going to put $5,000 into marketing for that client. So we do it on an individual basis too. So do it individual, and we also have a one that's for the masses.
Gotcha, gotcha. Um, so what approach have you taken to tracking your leads? Do y'all have a CRM that you guys prefer to use?
We use Monday on all the companies. We tried out a few, but we use a Monday system. We like it because it has an app tied to it, so I know when there's a deal that's been done and I can track what who's working. So it helps us a lot because we go off of an AA statement that says we don't shoot our wounded. So in order to do that, we have a system. We also have a full-time AI guy that sets up everything to where if they're not getting about 3 deals a week on the insurance side, then we know that there's probably a problem. And the problems never falls on them. It usually falls on the leadership that we're not doing something to teach them appropriately enough to get to that side. And we want them to be successful. So we use Monday and all things, both businesses are both run on Monday.
Gotcha, gotcha. So moving a little bit from marketing to sales, what does your sales process look like?
Yeah, so sales process is we look at minerals And this has kind of changed over time. Used to look at minerals as a really, really good asset to own long term. And I think it still is if you're buying minerals in the Permian at the right price. And I'm of the camp if you buy it right, then it's all the money's made on the purchase. So we buy them, and our main goal is to fund. We either do 1031 exchanges to buy like buildings and assets, or we use it to fund these other companies. And so we buy the asset, and we buy probably about 500 to 1,000 acres a month. And then we sell out about 90% of that, and then we retain 10%. And we use that as the engine to fuel the other companies. And the reason we do that, in my personal consideration after running the numbers, minerals are mostly bought on what's called PDP, which is if they're producing, you hit your ROI on your 35th month. Well, if that's your ROI factor, you can buy an insurance agency at 35 months. The only difference is one of the mineral asset is declining, and the insurance asset is inclining. So that was the reason that we made a major pivot as far as the numbers are concerned. And they're both pretty much you're arbitraging the same thing. So you're either buying the mineral acres at one price, or you're buying the insurance agency. And those are two of the way that you buy them too is important. So minerals, you're paying all cash. So we facilitate 100% of all of our purchases in-house, no investor money whatsoever. And on the insurance side, you're buying it on an owner finance. So you're putting up 20 to 30% with a back end payout of about 50%. So you're not having to come up with as much capital, even though it costs a lot more to buy, but you're paying it over time. You also get a lot of their employees along with it when you buy the insurance agencies, which was another very attractive feature of buying those.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's actually super cool. It's cool to kind of learn more about like the oil and gas industry because I've always been pretty fascinated with it and never really had a chance to talk with anyone like you before for it.
It's probably the best industry. I like it the best of any industry I've ever worked, um, and the reason is oil and gas is not controlled by the government. And the second reason is that there's most, I do a lot of transactions on handshake only. Like I did one this week, it was $2 million, and all we did was say, he just said, I want it. But his word is so good that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that he'll close it because I've done so many deals with him. So
Yeah.
that's kind of different. When you go into other industries, it's all about, signing this whatever PSA or LOI, and you're not getting that oil people in general that we deal with, their word means everything. And it means everything to us. And if we ever find one of the clients that doesn't mean as much to them, we usually just kind of stop sending them our deals.
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. That's super cool. Yeah, because like even like I said, like I do a lot of stuff in the film and TV industry, and it's all based off contracts. It's all contracts. You got to sign like 9 contracts to work on something. There's no like human thing with it. So it's cool that is a thing in the oil industry.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it.
I know you mentioned having a few team members, so I'm curious, could you describe your leadership style in business and has it changed over the years?
Yeah, leadership style and business. We start everybody we bring on some professionals like in the oil and gas. They have usually are two types of people. One is an attention to detail person, and one is a person that loves to talk, and is probably not so much focused. So those are your two crucial components that most people have. So we put them the way we hire is, you know, we believe this: whatever you do the best with the least amount of effort is your gift from God, and your why is usually somewhere close to that. So if we put them in the right seat, that the gifts that they have, which are, we can usually tell just by talking to them, and we put them in that seat and we allow them to thrive. We don't sit there and micromanage them the whole time, but we give them the tools and we structure it. So Grasslands is predominantly leasing agents or title agents, and then you've got your leasehold title agents, which are more sophisticated than just a mineral title agent, and then the leasing team. So it's three components. Firethorn is a few components. It's acquisitions, cold callers, initial contact. Your second component is closing manager. And then on the other side, you have your title team, which is Grasslands facilitates a lot of that stuff for Firethorn. And then you have your managers, which are your mostly your closing manager, your title, your prelim title, which is going over how many acres they own before you buy it. And then you have your certified title of your 30-day closing. If we have all that facilitated in-house, so we wrap it up in a nice package and put a run sheet on it with all the docs that support it, and we send it out to the investors so they don't have to spend time running title.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, it's super cool. So, what areas of training do you believe your people need the most in the next 6 months based on the current business climate and where your business is heading?
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question. Most people spend a whole bunch of time on what they're doing and they don't spend a whole lot of time in investing in themselves. And so, and it's always kind of been me versus me, and figuring out all the character flaws that I had, and then figuring out how to get better at those. So we spent an exorbitant amount of time on that book, 21 Irrefutable Laws, and I have the same leadership coach I've had since day one. And he's part of the John Maxwell leadership team. And everybody who works with me gets 1 hour with him a week. So we think that leadership is by far and above the most important thing that anybody can learn in business that there is. And that's how we've based our entire company on that. So in order to facilitate it, they need to understand what leadership is and how to grow themselves before we can ever make the business move forward at all.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, I think we'll transition to a few rapid fire questions if you're ready for it.
Okay.
Awesome. What is the key to success for you?
The key to success to me is making sure at the end of the day that everybody that's around me becomes better because of it. The key to success for my kids is being godly fearing kids, and to be a husband that is supportive of his wife. And the key to success for my team is to make sure that they reach their successful goals. Those would be the keys to my success.
Awesome. What is one piece of advice you have for other business owners?
I would say if your numbers don't work at the beginning, they never work at the end.
Yeah, I like that. What is a book or podcast you're reading or listening to right now?
Um, I probably listen to I listen to a lot of right now we're looking at we've been reading Traction, and because we're scaling the model based on the book. So we're using 90.io, which is new to us. But it's as far as facilitating time and orchestrating meetings, it was brought up to me by a mentor. I'm in a group called Boardroom Mastermind, and the CEO recommended to us, and so we're we're grasping onto it with both hands.
Nice. So this is kind of a fun question that I always love to ask. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could choose one spot in your business to sprinkle it and everything would be perfect, where would it be and why?
I would say that I would say that the magic potion would go to that everybody's families would honestly just that would be the number one thing that their families that we have that system in our the processes all work great, but if they come to work and there's family problems, that's something that, that we can't really help them with. And so I would say that, my number one prayer and concern is that their families are all proud and they have a family unit at their house that's something that they can really be proud of as far as that's concerned. Because if their life is going well, then they'll bring a great product to the office.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, before we get to the final question of the day, would you like to share with our audience how they can follow you guys, learn more, contact y'all?
That's it's probably pretty hard, but I mean, we have a couple our websites are firethornholdings.com and grasslandsacquisitions.com. I'm on LinkedIn. It's under John, and then it has parentheses Bobby Fernando. My name's John Roberts. So some people call me Bobby, some people call me John, and some people call me worse things. So but that's the way to follow it. That's about it. I'm on Facebook and a few other things, but that's the way to go.
Awesome. Well, we've come to the final question of the day, and that is what is most inspiring to you today?
What's most inspiring to me today? I would say the most inspiring thing that we've been doing is we've done about a $2 billion capital raise as far as that goes, as far as business is we were really, really blessed to have a lot of great clients that are mostly family office, and they believed in the vision when we laid it out. We had a tremendously hard time raising that type of capital in oil and gas, and we couldn't even come close to it. But in the premium finance sector, we were able to do that, and with doing the arbitrages of insurance agencies. But I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited about that I have a very patient wife. I have some great kids that think the world of me. And so it's great to have them in my corner, and I'm blessed to have them.
Awesome. Well, this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed getting to hear your story. So thank you so much for sharing. Also, I just encourage all of you watching to save this show and come back and watch it again because John really did have some great insights for business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so we get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and special thanks to you, John, for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, David, for having me.
Of course, I will see you all in the next episode.